I'm Cebo Luthuli. I'm 27 years old and I am a video journalist for BBC News Gathering. I left uni about a year and a half before I applied, and I spent about 12 months being a door-to-door salesman. And if you know about the door, I think I talk about this door-to-door experience all the time. I think you've heard of it 1,000 times before, Maya. And you kind of just get really engrossed into it. And after uni, you just need a job. And then I came out of it, and with sales, it's all about goals. And I'm thinking, I've actually spent 12 months away from media, and I felt really detached from it and so forth. And before, I thought as well, probably a young naive millennial or whatever, I thought I'd done a documentary. It featured Big Nasty on it, and it also made it onto my dissertation piece actually made it onto Noisy, which is a sister company to Vice. And so I thought, oh mate, someone's gonna give me a job after this. Do you know what I mean? My dissertation literally got published, and it was just silent. The interview came at the right time because I got enough no's to be humble enough to handle that interview. And then it got to a point. I was on Universal Credit actually, and then they were really pressuring me to get a job and all that stuff. And so the same week I had an interview at Mummy Youth, I had an interview at Wetherspoons, and then I remember I had an interview, and then I had a trial day. I'm thinking, what? For Spoons, for Spoons, you want me to come to 2 interviews? And then, and then after the trial, I think I had a 2-hour trial shift for free, basically, at Spoons. And then I was just so happy when I could just say, no, I'm not joining you guys. I just couldn't. I was just that was really, that was a good moment. I think they did a really good job to prepare you of what you're going to get yourself into. There was just a lot of this is what this is. Do you know what I mean? I feel 60% of the training was, this is what you're going to go through. This is what you're going to go through. And I've just been and I guess because I've been a door-to-door salesman for 12 months, I was just happy to be inside an office. I think I would say, growing up in Essex as a black guy, I definitely didn't really have many conversations about race. When I started finding myself as a black person, probably was around Luton University, or Bedford University, Luton campus. That's when I was exposed to more black people. So I definitely wasn't connected to my blackness in any way. Then I had someone like Bob, and I'm not even saying this in any way, but even me and him have a similar skin complexion. I feel he a little bit looks like me. Do you know what I mean? I feel he could be my uncle. Do you know what I mean? Genuinely feel like that. So I never had, and then so in terms of connecting to my blackness and being more aware and actually being comfortable to talk about these things, that was one thing that happened there, and that gives me the confidence to do in other places. And that's kind of well, if I'm not as comfortable as I was at Mummy Youth to do these things, then maybe this might not be the work environment for me and all that stuff. But it is just this is my new flat. Do you know what I mean? I've recently moved in. I'm a homeowner as of December last year, and literally since leaving Mummy Youth, I've been in employment. I've been able to do you know what I mean? Without that, I would have not. Do you know what I mean? It was just they put me in a place that I would thrive in. I got into a place, they knew that I'd be a current affairs person. They put me in current affairs, and I enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? And I enjoyed it so much. I've been very lucky. I'm in a time where the industry is recognizing that it wants to change. I think I'm definitely the fruits of other people's labor in terms of pushing for more diversity, pushing for this, pushing for that. Again, I can see wholeheartedly why. I know people talk about there's a gap, right? And I see it, and I can see why it happens. My manager right now is a person of color. He's an Asian guy. His name's Ravin, and he was one of the people who I literally remember looking at him, talking to my boss and saying, we need to keep this kid. Obviously there were other people there, but he was a person in the position of power to say, no, hire this kid. And then at once, and just that little bit of extra care, do you know what I mean? When I didn't get that job initially, he said, okay, cool, I've got friends at BBC Africa, go for a trial for there for 1 week and we'll see what we can do. I'm a product of that. If that wasn't there, then I would have a very, if someone like him wasn't there and the media not like recognizing needs to change, I definitely would not be in this position. Now, I put it in my bio, you know, to this day, that Mummy Youth Alumni, just because like that was my golden ticket for sure. Do you know what I mean? And I even think like I feel proud of that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like definitely so proud of that. I remember getting really upset. Like, so when you've got no money, like you can only like take pleasure on really small things. So do you remember, like, because we were in the arse end of nowhere, right? Like there's only that downstairs place to eat. And I used to like bring the ingredients and I would make them in the office. And I bought this like peri-peri sauce, and it was like £2, right? But it's a small bottle. You know that, like, the Nando's peri sauce? Do you know what I mean? Bruv, there was Misha and someone else had my sauce, and I was left with a little bit. I was fuming, bruv. I was fuming. Because £2 on a small bottle back then was a lot. And I remember Misha, like, I was saying, you're gonna buy me a new one. You're gonna buy, bro. She was just saying, but it's just sauce. But yeah, but it's mine. But it's mine.